August 19th meeting of the Salem Township Planning Commission to order. It's 7:30 p.m. Is Mike working?
Here, yes.
Okay. And the first thing we'll do is we'll handle the roll call, and in the absence of our official secretary, Ms. Cripps will manage the secretary's duties for us this evening and run us through the roll call for attendance.
Chairman Shepherd,
Here.
Casey Kelly, absent and excused. Darrell Lewandowski,
Here.
P.J. McLaughlin. Here. Pam Merlo, absent and excused. Bart Kahn, absent. Sandra Petrowski. Here.
All right, we have a quorum. And so we'll get going. We have a couple things to run through tonight. The next item on is the approval of the agenda. And the copy's been posted. Is there a motion to approve it as presented?
Make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
I'll second.
And seconded. Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. The motion passes, and we have our agenda, so we'll move on to item 4 tonight, which is public comment. If someone would like to comment, you can raise your hand and be recognized. Otherwise, we'll move forward. All right, no public comment. Correspondence. A couple items have come to the attention of the Planning Commission. Nothing particularly of note, although I'll just mention we have the Michigan Planning Commission brochure here talking about the Association of Planning's annual conference in October. And then 2 months worth of the planning and zoning news from both May and June this year. And so I believe those documents have been circulated to the members of the Planning Commission. And have we had anything else, Ms. Cripps, other than the items related to the business before us?
I have the Michigan Planner for July and August of 2013.
Oh, okay.
Everyone got that?
All right. I think that's it for correspondence. We don't have a public hearing tonight, and so we're zipping forward. We'll get to the meat of the meeting. And the first item in front of us is a new business item. It's item 13005, which is a preliminary, potentially final site plan review for Fox Hills maintenance fee. And so, why don't we start out with Ms. Cripps giving us just a summary of the application and such, and then we'll get the status on our professional reports.
Fox Hills Country Club is replacing a storage building that they currently have. They're more than doubling the size of the one that was there previously. I had talked to the applicant and suggested they go to the fire department because this is a building that will store chemicals, fertilizer, lawn equipment, and things like that. And I have a verbal okay from the fire department. The fire department maintained that they had designed the interior of the building in a manner that best suited them for the firefighting. So I have a verbal okay from the fire department on the drawings. It was also sent to our planner and to our engineer for review.
Okay. The application is complete and the appropriate fees were submitted? Okay. So everything's in line with, let's call it that part of the zoning ordinance?
Yes.
Okay. All right, why don't we hear from the planners? They've prepared a summary of what's in front of us here, and I think that'd be good to have on the record.
Very good, thank you very much. I issued a report to the Planning Commission that's dated August 15th. And the Commission has had a lot of review with these people over the years, and I just listed a couple of the kind of the final things that the Commission dealt with in regards to the Fox Hills, going back to the year 2000 when a final site plan was approved by the planning commission for your facility. And was lots of things on your grounds and things of that nature. And a few minor things over the years. So it's a site plan, a conditional use that's in good standing. So I looked at the proposal, and I had some general comments as far as site plan evaluation. I looked over, the history, the previous submittals, the planning commission's actions, and things of that nature, and everything that I saw gave me the impression that it appeared to be in compliance with the previously approved conditional use and the site plan. So everything seems to be fine in regards to that. The storage facility to replacement like this is, to me, it's a sign of the operation. It's part of a total overall comprehensive activity for the site, and making it a little bigger, I see no real difficulty in that. It's in compliance with zoning and all the other things that I just mentioned, and as I say, part of the normal operation for the facility. Hopefully it's a sign that it's doing well too, with a little bigger building. Looking at other things regarding that, the vehicular circulation in the area, that continues to be acceptable, like the ingress, egress, the parking layout, etc. I saw no real impact to that. The parking doesn't really appear to be impacted. I didn't know if you're going to lose a couple spaces or not, but I wasn't sure, but it doesn't appear to be impacted at all. It's simply the space seems to be adequate for the placement of the proposed building. The access to the building, again, appears satisfactory as it relates to function, relationship to the entire site. I see this is a part of their ongoing activities. Site grading, minimal. I see no issues there. On-site infrastructures, I didn't do any calculation. That's the engineer. Stormwater management, I don't know, there might be a slight increase in runoff because of the increased building. I don't know how much that is. I left that to the engineer, but as far as my review of that, I would suspect it would be minimal, because I recall going back when we were looking at the overall calculations for stormwater management of the site, and they had considerable capacity for stormwater management, but that issue is up to the engineer to make an assessment of that. Landscaping, I don't think that's going to be altered at all. Not going to be affected by the placement of the new building. We're just going to slide a new building in, and there is some landscaping that currently exists on the current building. Lighting details, I would assume that the existing building is probably lit. Security lighting, maybe some wall packs, I would assume that that's probably going to be replaced with similar kinds of lighting. To me, wall packs are reasonable, it's security type of thing, and they're not going to be, they shouldn't be, you can comment on that, but they shouldn't be offensive, to anything more than what the current one is. So regarding my assessment, I recommend that, they've done the process that they needed to do. It seems reasonable as far as their overall activity. I have no difficulty with it. I think that it's ready for your discussion and for your action. Any questions? I will gladly resolve it.
Okay. Any of the other commissioners have questions for Mr. Pennington in his report? I didn't have any issue with it. I thought it was
I only have one. I am reading on the application here, it says replace existing building with expanded building. Is it the same building, or is it an all new building?
It's completely new building.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
yes, of course.
Concerning the report from Stan Tech, he talks about the management of the water runoff. Has that been addressed, or?
I have the file that was originally put in '99, and Mr. Brian Simons, who is our engineer, came out. I emailed him the stormwater management from that plan. He was concerned, just from the overall picture on the plan, that it looked like it was going into a retention pond, but that is actually a berm. And he didn't really have an issue. He doesn't think there's so that's a major issue. But he did come out and take a look at the plan. He looked at the previous plans to see where the drainage was and everything, and he seemed to be pretty comfortable.
So there's a little bit of work to be done there still. From the part of the engineer.
Yeah,
Meaning
from the
he's
part of the
He now has
engineer,
the
yeah.
information in front of him,
Yeah.
and he needs to look at the engineering drawings from the past and.
Yeah, he did.
And then he may have a question. Okay, and that was the only item of question in his review. Everything else is not an issue.
Yeah, because I pulled the original plan for him to take a look at when he came out to the office.
All right, do we know when he will have a complete review? Has he given us a commitment?
He didn't anticipate that this site would need one.
So he's signing off on it?
He's
Is that what you're
basically
saying?
signing off on it. He did not see, unless Mr. Pennington had a major issue with it, he doesn't see a major issue based on the information that was in the previous file from 99.
Okay. I mean, I've been through it, it looks very complete. And I don't have any concerns, and so I'm, you know, if the rest of the people here are in agreement, I would entertain a motion to approve the final site plan, subject to the condition of the engineer's letter of approval.
Okay.
And I guess, I'll make that motion. So,
I'll second it.
and Ms. Petrosky will second it. Okay. Are there any other questions here from the people? This is going simply, which is probably a good thing to do. So, in that case, we'll have a voice vote or roll call?
Roll call.
Roll call vote. Okay.
Chairman Shepherd,
Yes.
Mr. Lewandowski,
Yes.
Ms. McLaughlin,
Yes.
Ms. Petrosky.
Yes.
Motion
Okay.
passes.
Thank you.
Simple and straightforward. Thank you for coming. All right, we'll move on to our next item. Which is an old item from last year, 12-004, and it's a request for an extension of a preliminary site plan approval related to St. Mary's Coptic Orthodox Church. And why don't you, Ms. Brooks, could you just highlight what it is that they're asking for?
They received preliminary approval in August, and I wrote to them and gave them the steps that they needed to follow. And they can ask for an extension of that approval before they apply for their final site plan approval. Apparently, they're having some issues working out the engineering. As you recall, the site, there was a lot that was asked of them, so we're hoping that in a year's time, they can get all of that together.
Okay, and so they're asking for a 12-month extension from the August 25th, 2013 deadline, which is the standard time period. And I take it our zoning ordinance makes provision that the planning commission is authorized to provide an extension.
Is a year normally the extension?
They can go up to a year.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Pennington.
If I could, a year seems reasonable. It should not, unless there's really significant difficulties working out what needs to be done with governmental agencies. You know, they should be back in, before a year, but a year gives them flexibility. What I was going to advise for your consideration is, as opposed to just in a motion that says we give a one-year extension, I would suggest that you put a date which would be in the minutes that would be how long that extension is going to last. You know, like today is, what, the 19th of August. I thought it was May, but I just... to put a date so that we have that in the record and there's no complication as to when the year is going to expire.
Yes.
If a year is the maximum amount of time that they have, is there a benefit to making it a shorter time period to get them to progress a little bit faster and then give them an extension, or are they only allowed one extension?
And I don't know.
Yeah, as I said a moment ago, in all likelihood, unless there's a real problem, they should get this done. Sometimes working with the governmental agencies can be a lengthy process, depending on what the issues are. The only advantage that I would see in having a shorter time is to keep the commission updated with the progress. Sometimes we've worked with communities that, want, a long extension, and sometimes we see the need to say, okay, and I'm not suggesting that in this case, I think it's probably warranted for like a 6-month extension or something like that, so that the applicant can come back to the planning commission and give an update as to what they've accomplished or what they've not accomplished, or perhaps some of the difficulties that they're trying to overcome. You can go either way. A year is fine. The only advantage, as I say, is to keep up to date if you had a shorter period of time.
There is one other element to this, if I may, that may warrant the year, and that is that we do have a new zoning ordinance that's in the process of being adopted. And that new ordinance does change one element related to this case, and that it puts churches into a new zoning district, the public, semi-public services district. And that was done to eliminate the need for a special use approval, and also to deal with some other related land uses. This project, because it started under the current ordinance, because they have an approved preliminary site plan under the current ordinance, both the current ordinance and the new ordinance essentially grandfather that project in to continue forward. So long as they progress, they are allowed to continue forward under the regulations that they started with. But that progression really is reflected in a year's time as well. The ordinance talks about 365 days. Projects that started within 365 days can continue forward. So I think granting a year extension, it really would be one extension, and after that they would need to be in the new public PSP zoning district if they let that lapse. So I think in this case that may be the best option, because in all likelihood if a 6-month extension was granted, the new ordinance would be in place by then, and we'd have to address that issue.
And also keep in mind that the applicant himself has asked for a full year.
Oh, I agree, and quite honestly, what I don't want to encourage is an applicant having to rush through a process and doing an incomplete job. You really, if they come with a final site plan for final approval, I want it to be, all the I's and dotted and T's crossed, or whatever. I think that's the way you said it. And we want the time to have proper reviews and stuff, but we really want the application to be able to do the best development for the neighborhood and for the situation that they're in. So I personally am in favor of granting the extension.
I'm just going to ask, where does it ask on their paperwork for a year? I don't see
At
it.
the bottom, we kindly ask the township to grant us a year's extension to accommodate our ongoing permit circumstances.
Second
The
paragraph.
last paragraph, right before the salutation.
Okay, all right. I just kept overlooking it. Okay.
Are there any other questions or comments from the commissioners?
No, I'm good.
Does anyone want to make a motion?
No. Just make a motion to, the number, I don't have that number, make a motion to
12
approve the.
-004.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the 12-004 extension request for 1 year from this date to August 18th of
Why don't you
2014.
put down your regular meeting date of August?
That's August
of
18th, that's the third
2014.
Monday.
Is it August 13th?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, until,
I got it, yeah. So it'd be the 18th would be the regular third Monday.
2014.
yes.
14, yes.
Okay. Second?
Sandy's second. Okay. Voice vote? No, roll call vote. We'll just do roll call votes all the time, it's real simple. We're ready for the vote.
Chairman Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. Lewandowski?
Yes.
Ms. Petrowski?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, the motion carries and we've granted a 52-week extension from today. Math is right. Okay, now we're ready for item 9, which is report of commissioners or committees. And do we have any that we'd like to bring forward? Perhaps a simple update on the committee working on the Parks and Open Spaces activity.
We met with the committee. It was short, a couple of members because of conflicts, but we had a good meeting with those who were able to come. Earlier this month, we provided a portion of the draft plan, basically looking at the community description, introduction to the process. We had a preliminary inventory of township resources related to this, and also the full summary of the open house, all the comments and information received during the Flag Day open house process. And then also a preliminary statement of goals for the document for the future of Parks, Recreation, Open Space in the township. We did receive comments in some good direction on that, and some additional items to add to our resources list. And we are working on preparing a complete draft, preparing the rest of the information, as well as updating the material we provided. We have a meeting set for September 11th, Wednesday, September 11th at 7 o'clock. 7:30, I'm sorry, 7:30, here in the hall. And to take a look at that draft plan. So we're planning on having that material out the week before the meeting, the Wednesday before the meeting. So that would be the 4th. Have it available for the committee to take a look at.
Okay, I think at some point, maybe for our September meeting here, it would be very good to see an update to that project schedule, showing all the actions that go through the public notification and adoption by the planning commission, so that we can understand what endpoint we're looking at.
And I can certainly do that. We are on track for the deadlines that the state has for 2014 to be able to have. They have a hard deadline of basically the end of January, first of February, to have an adopted plan in their hands for them for the state to review it related to grant funding. And we're on track to meet that. I'll certainly prepare that.
Okay, but it'll be helpful because at some point, the report for the committee's work comes here to the planning commission, and the planning commission is going to have to take over getting things through, and I'd like the rest of the people on the planning commission to be aware of what we're looking at for the October, November timeframe in terms of moving this project forward.
Actually, September the regular meeting in September would be a good meeting to include this on the agenda, and we can provide the same information to the full commission that way.
I agree.
So we'll plan on doing that.
Very good. Any other reports? All right, we'll move on to item 10, which is approval of minutes from July. Hopefully everyone's seen the draft. And is there a motion to approve?
I approve the request to approve the minutes of July 15th. Blank.
As submitted, eh?
As submitted.
Okay.
I have a senior moment.
We have a second. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And the motion passes. Okay. Item 11, Reports and announcements. Anything to report? That's fine. We'll move on to item 12, which is public comment. And since no one's asking to be recognized, we're done with public comment. So I will declare this meeting adjourned at 7:55. And thank you.
Oh.